You know, a leather Chesterfield sofa isn't just a piece of furniture, right? It's a statement. It's basically an heirloom that you're creating, and it's built to last for decades. But then it happens. You spot that first scratch, and you get that little ping of panic. Don't worry, today we're going to walk through exactly how to handle it. Oh, you know that feeling. You see it from across the room. A tiny little line that definitely wasn't there yesterday. It's that heart-sinking moment when your absolute pride and joy gets its first little battle scar. But what if I told you that this is a super common problem and, honestly, in a lot of cases, it has a surprisingly simple solution? And here's why this matters so much. Just in 2024, households in the UK spent a staggering £20.6 billion on furniture. Your Chesterfield is a really significant part of that investment, so protecting it isn't just about how it looks, it's about preserving some real tangible value. Okay, let's dive into how we do that. Okay, before you reach for any product, the first and most critical step is diagnosis. You have to know your enemy, so to speak. Are you dealing with a minor little surface scuff, or is it a deep, kind of menacing scratch? Because the repair method is going to depend entirely on that distinction. So what's the actual difference? Well, it's all about depth. A surface scuff, that only affects the top finish of the leather. Now here's the key test. Just run your finger over it. If you can't really feel a distinct groove, congrats, it's just a surface scuff. But if you can feel a ridge or you can see the lighter colored leather underneath, you're dealing with a deep scratch that's actually cut into the hide itself. Now this is where it gets really interesting, especially with these classic heritage Chesterfields. A lot of them use something called pull-up leather, which is actually designed to show marks. It's part of its charm. When you scratch it, the oils and waxes in the leather get pushed aside, and that's what creates that light line. But this is great news for us, because it means we can often just manipulate those same oils to blend the mark right back in. All right, let's get to the practical part. For those minor scuffs and surface marks, you are your own first line of defense. There's a really gentle, straightforward process you can follow right at home that can make a huge difference. And the best part? No scary chemicals or special tools needed. Now, the crucial thing here is to follow these 3 steps in order. It's super important. First, you have to clean the area, because you don't want to rub dirt into the leather. Then, you gently warm and massage the mark to work with those waxes we just talked about. And finally, you condition the leather to restore its moisture and protection. Simple, right? Clean, warm, condition. The details really, really matter here. For cleaning, use a soft cloth and some distilled water, not tap water and definitely not household cleaners. For the warming step, honestly, the natural heat from your palm held over the spot for about 20 seconds is often all you need to soften that finish. And when you get to conditioning, please remember, less is more. A tiny little dab is all it takes. If you overdo it, you can actually darken the leather. And always, always, always test any product on a hidden spot first. Ah, yes, the #1 culprit in so many homes, the cat. For those fine, parallel little lines that our feline friends leave behind, the approach is exactly the same to start. The goal, as the pros say, is to calm the surface. That same clean, warm, and conditioned process can really significantly improve the look of minor claw marks and help blend them back into the grain of the leather. But look, sometimes a DIY approach just isn't the answer. Knowing when to step back and call in a professional is just as important as knowing how to do a minor repair yourself. Because if you try to fix a really deep gouge on your own, you could actually make it much, much worse. This is the triage stage. So here's how you make the call. If the mark is just a light scuff and there are no broken fibers, you're probably safe to tackle it yourself. But if you can feel a definite groove, if the fibers look frayed, or if the damage is in a really obvious spot, like smack in the middle of a seat cushion, it's time to call in a restorer. They have the tools and, more importantly, the experience to make it look seamless. So what does a professional actually do? Well, it's a much more intensive process. They'll start by deep cleaning and degreasing the area, trimming any of those little loose fibers, and then they apply a special, flexible leather filler in super thin layers. They sand it perfectly smooth before meticulously color matching the paint and applying a new protective top coat. It's a real art form. Of course, the best repair is the one you never have to do in the first place. So let's shift our focus to prevention. Thinking of yourself as the guardian of your sofa is really the ultimate long-term strategy for preserving not just its value, but its character too. And here's why that guardianship is so important. A survey found that a massive 80% of Chesterfield owners keep their sofa for over 2 decades. This is not disposable furniture, It's a long-term companion in your home, and a little bit of prevention goes a very, very long way. The great news is that prevention just comes down to a few simple habits that make all the difference. Keep your pet's nails trimmed, give your cat a scratching post, and maybe put it right next to the sofa. Use a nice throw blanket where your dog likes to nap, and just be mindful of things like keys or sharp objects in your back pockets. Oh, and try to position the sofa away from direct sunlight or radiators, which can make the leather brittle over time. But if there is one single thing you take away from this, let it be this. Condition your sofa every 6 to 12 months. Seriously. Think of it like moisturizing your own skin. Well-conditioned leather is just more supple, it's more flexible, and it's way more resistant to scuffs and scratches in the first place. So, in the end, a few marks here and there aren't a disaster. A well-loved Chesterfield is meant to develop character. Its lines and scuffs tell the story of the life that's been lived all around it. The goal isn't to keep it in a museum, it's to care for it thoughtfully. So the real question is, how are you going to help write its next chapter?